Through the lens of a camera, Africa seems incredibly cruel. I've spent many years here and have seen this for myself. No mercy at all. At least that's what all the textbooks say. But there is one case that made me doubt Africa's cruelty. A story about how wild Ethiopian lions became not predators but guardian angels.
Right now, a young woman is completely surrounded. 3 massive, wild Ethiopian lions are silently circling her in the tall, yellowed grass. She is exhausted, terrified beyond belief, absolutely alone in the unforgiving wilderness. Just hours ago, she was taken from her village against her will, pursued by a group of aggressive men. And now, she is face to face with the most dangerous predators in Africa. The young woman closes her eyes, shrinking down, bracing for the inevitable. But the end never comes. The lions are not looking at her. They are looking past the grass, at the dark tree line. They have formed a perfect, impenetrable circle, standing like a living shield between the crying woman and the men who took her. Why would the undisputed kings of the savannah suddenly protect a human being? Let's rewind. Ethiopia, June 2005. The remote southwestern highlands. Endless expanses, blazing sun, and dusty roads stretching beyond the horizon. A place where the beautiful landscape hides its absolute ruthlessness. For a 19-year-old woman, the usual walk home was a safe routine. But on that day, this path was cut short forever. A group of 7 men blocked her way. Their intentions were dark. In some remote regions, forced marriages are a tragic tradition that breaks lives, and she had just become their primary target. They grabbed her. She struggled, calling for help, but the dusty dirt roads were empty. She was forced deep into the wild, taken far away from her family and her safe world. The journey that began would last for 7 long, exhausting days. Imagine a week under the ruthless, blazing African sun. They walked endlessly through the dry, thorny savannah. Her clothes were covered in dust. Every unforgiving step took all her remaining strength. Water was scarce, and the heat relentless. But heavier than physical exhaustion was the paralyzing fear. At night, the savannah came alive. In the pitch black, rustles and chilling cries of night predators echoed around them. The young woman could not close her eyes. Isolated from everything she loved, her hopes slowly melted into the hot air. But the men were nervous too. They constantly covered their tracks, knowing local police and her relatives were desperately searching. The pressure was mounting by the hour. To avoid pursuit, they made a desperate decision. They forced her deeper into impenetrable thickets where humans rarely step, territory that rightfully belongs to wild animals. It was a dangerous game with nature. On the 7th day, authorities finally caught their trail. The police were closing in. Hearing voices in the distance, the men realized the net was tightening. They were trapped. But they had no idea the police were not the only ones tracking them. Suddenly, the tall grass rustled. The air grew heavy, smelling of dust and wild beasts. Out of the dense brush, silently and gracefully, 3 massive shadows emerged. Wild Ethiopian lions. Famous for their dark manes and incredible size, perfect machines forged by the savannah. The men froze in shock. Caught between armed police and 3 apex predators, their cruelty instantly evaporated. Giving in to pure panic, they scattered into the trees to save their own lives. They left the terrified young woman behind, completely alone, directly in the path of 3 giant cats. She collapsed onto the dry earth, having no strength left to scream, no strength to run. Put yourself in her shoes. Exhausted from a week of hardship, facing 3 giants weighing over 400 pounds each, their yellow, unblinking eyes staring right at you. She cowered, expecting the inevitable. The lions slowly, step by step, approached. She felt their heavy breathing and saw powerful muscles rolling under golden coats. The shadow of their massive bodies fell across her face. The distance closed to a minimum. She squeezed her eyes shut. But nothing happened. Instead, something occurred that defies biology itself. The lions showed no aggression. The massive predators simply lay down on the ground beside her. They positioned themselves around the fragile woman, facing outward. They created an impenetrable living barrier, like silent sentinels guarding a treasure. Predators are programmed to exploit vulnerability, but these lions broke the laws of their species. They stayed with her for half a day. The sun slowly crawled across the sky. The young woman cried quietly from shock, and every time a branch cracked or a hyena called out, the lions instantly tensed. They let out a low, vibrating growl, warning anyone who dared approach. They weren't just tolerating her presence, they were actively protecting her. In this hopeless wasteland, an incredible bond formed, erasing the lines between human and beast. Later, wildlife experts proposed a fascinating theory. The continuous, pitiful crying of the exhausted woman, those high notes of despair, sounded exactly like a lost lion cub. That pure plea for help pierced their wild nature. It awakened a deep, ancient instinct within them. An instinct stronger than hunger and their predatory essence. After several long hours, armed rescuers finally reached the clearing. They expected to find a tragedy, but they froze in absolute shock. The young woman was alive and completely unharmed. And around her, sitting motionless, were 3 kings of the savannah. As the humans cautiously approached, the lions realized their mission was over. They did not defend the territory or react aggressively. The very second she was safe, the lions stood up. They cast one last calm look at the humans, turned around, and slowly, with incredible dignity, melted back into the dense brush. Their duty was fulfilled. The humans who took her showed the darkest, most brutal side of humanity. But the wild animals demonstrated the purest form of empathy and mercy. We are used to thinking of nature as cruel and indifferent, but stories like this force us to be humble, reminding us the wild world is full of mysteries. Perhaps on that day, the savannah itself decided it was too early for this young woman to leave. If this story moved you, please hit the like button to share the legend of these silent guardians. And let me know in the comments, was this just an ancient instinct, or do animals truly have a soul? Until next time.